a lot of people might expect the UK to be sort of funding a lot of these projects, but we've seen changes in terms of the aid budget. So why is it that the UK isn't sort of prioritising projects looking at bringing in these reusable or single-use pads and menstrual hygiene products to schools here in Fiji?
So it's quite justifiable to think that as G7 economy, one of the world's most sort of agile and advanced approaches to development, that we should be doing this because it's really important. And we completely agree that it's important that women and girls should have access to both sustainable and accessible period products. The challenge we've got, though, is if we directly intervene in that as a donor, we are doing something which is unsustainable, and we're doing something which breaks an existing system. So if you, for example, put free period products in every school and every workplace, you're taking away legitimate business from all of those retailers who sell those products. So you have to consider the economic impacts of doing things. It might be that that's overall a good thing, but it disrupts the system. The second thing is that if we do it, our government works on usually about 5-year turnover, and our aid and development budget is decided usually on a 1 or 2 year basis. If we decide to do it for 1 or 2 years, and around the world or in all the countries that we're present, we do that, and then 2 years later we stop doing it, we've had a really dramatic effect on that system in the sense that our support isn't sustainable. The approach instead has to be to get governments and society and groups within countries to realise the importance of doing it, to find sustainable ways to do it within their existing resources and finance and budget. And then for us, where we can, through organisations like the Commonwealth, to support them with the knowledge of how to make that sustainable and how to achieve it for the long term. The times of just giving and having an aid relationship where it's a donor giving something to a recipient are gone. We're looking now at partnerships in expertise and knowledge and transfer to build a much more sustainable approach to development around the world.
Can I ask a little bit of a curveball follow-up question to that? Because obviously we're working with an organisation here called Earth Sisters Fiji, and they produce sustainable reusable sanitary products for women here in Fiji.
Yes.
And those products last 5 or 6 years. So in terms of looking at it, I understand the fact that it's sort of a drop and go with single use, but if a agency within the UK here, in terms of the commission or whatever, decided to support a VACA project like that, obviously it's much more long term than a single use. So how do we get around that in terms of saying that it's not sustainable?
So, and that's a really good point, and they do amazing work. There are groups across the Pacific who do innovative work trying to change the dynamic, not only on period products, but also on things like disposable nappies, which are a huge challenge for waste management and also for giving mothers much more free time and access to use that in the home. The challenge remains the same though, because if agencies like that remain dependent on donor funding, the great solution they've come up with is not sustainable. So our work has to be to support their idea to the point, either through tax policy, through access, through production facilities, through technology, to support them deliver that as a sustainable solution that stands on its own economic feet, rather than a solution which is great and innovative but depends on an external source of finance to do that. And I think that's really the future when we are seeking changes to really gritty and novel problems, is to put all our brains together and to work out how we can make this economically sustainable so it becomes part of what people expect in society, rather than something that a foreign donor comes and injects funding or injects sustainability into it, which, as we've learned on many things elsewhere, just doesn't last the long term.